Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other video that I have posted in the past. If you have any video that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm happy to hear from you. For many years, I used spaghetti pasta noodles mainly for making spaghettis. I could not think of anything else that I should use it for, and besides, it's supposed to be only for spaghettis. But there's nothing said on the box that you cannot use it for something else. Then something come to mind. How about I use it to cook an Asian noodle dish, a particular noodle dish that my wife really enjoys. And this is a pan-fried noodle dish, which is a Cantonese dish special. And every time when we go to a Cantonese restaurant, particularly in Chicago, my wife always orders this dish. Now this pan-fried noodle dish usually is made with a Cantonese egg noodles. I always reluctant to use other type of noodles to create this noodle dish because the Cantonese egg noodles seem to be designed specifically for this pan-fried noodle dish. I'm afraid any other type of noodles that I'm going to use, I'm going to have problem of the noodles stick and burn to the bottom of the wok, and that will be disastrous. So I was reluctant to give it a try. But finally, I picked up the courage. I'm going to create a pan-fried noodle dish using spaghetti noodles. Particularly, I'm going to cook it with chives. I was hesitant in the beginning whether this would work out or not, but it turned out to be wonderful. I'm glad I gave it a try because now I can cook this dish for my wife anytime I want, and that makes her very happy. And then what a coincidence this morning when I talked to my friend Jorge, I also learned that he uses spaghetti noodles to make a chow mein. After I add about 3 tablespoons of canola cooking oil to my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok, I want to make sure that I season the wok properly with my spot seasoning method. This dish will not work if the wok is not well seasoned to have a non-stick cooked surface, because otherwise the noodles are going to stick to the surface. Now noodles are notoriously for sticking to the surface of the wok. And here I'm going to tell you a couple secrets that will prevent it from sticking. The first thing is that make sure you have enough cooking oil in the wok, and then you use a pair of tongs to toss the noodles, making sure the noodles is properly coated with oil. Because if the noodle is not coated with oil, there's much greater tendency for it to stick. Now to pan-fry this noodle dish, one of the important things to do is that you want to fry the noodles to create a crispy texture without the noodle having it to stick. And there's a little secret to that. Now I cooked the noodles first in my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok, and the wok turned out to be excellent for cooking noodles because it's the right size, and you can lay the noodles right over the surface of the wok and without having to break it. The next thing is that after you finish cooking the noodles, it is important that you store the noodles in the refrigerator. I store them in a plastic container for at least 48 hours before you're going to use it. This is the time when the noodle is being dry. And if you do not dry out the noodles, there's a great tendency for it to stick and burn, even though you have a non-stick cooked surface. As you can see here, the noodles do not stick to the bottom of the wok. This is important for you to cause browning and to create a crispy texture. And the best way to do it is to set the burner to a slow or medium setting. And this will allow you to cook the noodles gradually, and the browning is important without having it to get burned. By constantly turning the noodles, it will allow you to cook the noodle evenly. And it's the difference between the soft and the crispy texture that makes this noodle taste great. And there are many different ways to season the noodles. In this case, I'm going to season the noodle with some fermented black soybean, which is my wife's favorite. And then I'm going to also add about 1.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce. And this will allow me to create a flavor for the noodles so that now the noodle can be standalone. I can also add other ingredients to it, but for this purpose, I'm going to use just as it is. But the thing is that I'm going to give the noodles a nice flavor is to use some chives. Now this chive was given to me by a friend of mine that he grew in his garden. It was a very welcomed addition for the noodles. However, if you don't have chives, you can use other type of onion-like product. Scallions would be a good way to use it, but I probably would not use onions because onions will not have long enough time for it to cook properly to have the texture that you would like. But chive is a very traditional approach in cook this noodle dish. When I was a child, I remember you can have this simple dish just exactly like this as part of the street food. So after I mix the chive for about 10 or 15 seconds, well, the noodle is ready. Now the key characteristic of this noodle dish, as you can see here, is that part of the noodles is fried to a crispy texture, whereas the other part of the noodle remain to be soft, and this crisp and soft texture of the noodles create that interesting contrast, which make the noodles very interesting. Now this noodle dish is a very popular noodle dish, as I have mentioned earlier, as a street food noodle dish. Instead of having it stand alone as shown in this particular dish, you can also add other ingredients to the dish. For example, in the Chinese restaurant in Chicago, they always create a seafood medley. And this seafood medley often contains shrimp, squid, and scallops. And my wife loves shrimp and scallop, but she doesn't like the squid. So I end up eating most of the squid, which I enjoy very much, and that works great for me. So as you can see that this dish is easily to make with spaghetti noodles rather than the traditional Cantonese egg noodles. The end result is that it turned out pretty much the same as they said noodles are noodles. The important thing is that make sure after you cook the noodles that you put it in the refrigerator and let it to dry for 48 hours. This will prevent the noodles from stick and burn to the surface of the wok. And the end result is really wonderful. And this will create a contrasting texture between the crispy part of the noodle and the softness of the noodle, and it provides an excellent culinary experience. So give it a try. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. Using my fast cooking system, you can make your home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.